Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Wisconsin.
What a finish it was last night. Logan Schaefer with a sacrifice fly at RBI, the only tally of the game. And the Brewers beat the Pirates 1-0 last night to pull within 3.5 games of the second wild card position. 7 games to go. It's the final game of this series with the Pirates. Game 3 here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. The Brewers and the Buccos. Road trip will continue tomorrow in Cincinnati. Hi, everybody. We welcome you from PNC Park. It's a beautiful day for baseball once again. Alongside Bill Schroeder, I'm Brian Anderson. Our reporter today is Telly Hughes. And Rock, let's get into a little bit of what the Brewers are doing on the mound. Obviously, there's a little bit of bad blood between these two teams. And they're going to have a hard thrower on the mound today in Willie Peralta. And the starting pitching has just been lights out.
And Willie Peralta likes to pitch inside.
Yes,
it could get exciting here today, but the starting rotation has been outstanding. Almost a week and a half, these guys have been money, and Willie Peralta a big part of that. After a rough month of August, Willie's 3 starts in the month of September have been very good, particularly good in his last 2. One against the Marlins, one at Busch Stadium against the St. Louis Cardinals. The Brewers have won his last 2 starts. Willie 1-1 this month. And the big important thing for Willie today, he's got to throw that slider for strikes. Yvonne Gallardo and Matt Garza, big success against his Pirate ball club the last couple of days with the big curveball.
And he has to pitch inside to be effective, especially the fastball hunting Pittsburgh Pirates. See what the Brewers have done from the starting rotation over the last 10 games. They have 2 losses, which is hard to believe, and only 3 wins, but a 1.42 earned run average. They'll try to keep that going today as they try to fight their way back in the picture. Vance Worley on the mound for the Pirates. He'll match up against Peralta. These two going at it for the final time of the regular season in 2014. Lineup's first pitch coming up next. Another big game on the schedule this afternoon. We welcome you back from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. 73 degrees, got some clouds in the sky. A chance of rain a little bit later today, and it'll be the final day here in the Steel City in the regular season for the Brewers. And they are expecting a sellout crowd this afternoon. Their final regular season home game. They've had sellouts the last two games. They actually drew over 39,000 here yesterday. Second largest crowd they've had all year to watch the Brewers win 1-0 yesterday. Milwaukee now 3.5 back in the wild card race. They do own the tiebreaker with the Pirates. So if this thing ends up in a tie with Pittsburgh at the end of the year, the Brewers would host a tiebreaker game at Miller Park. Ron Renneke going with this batting order today. It is courtesy of Associated Bank. He's got Gomez leading off, Scooter Gennett batting second with Lucroy in the 3-hole again. And then Ramirez, Braun, and Parra, Overbase, Segura, Peralta round out the starting 9 for Renneke this afternoon. And they will face right-hander Vance Worley. Charlie Morton was scheduled to start. He is unable to make that start, and so the Vanimal, Vance Worley, is on the mound today.
Yeah, the Pirates picked him up at the end of spring training back on March 25th from the Minnesota Twins. He started the year in AAA, but making start number 16 today. He won his last time out September 10th a while ago, a win against the Phillies in Philadelphia. And he is making his 5th start career against the Milwaukee Brewers.
They got a little pause in the action here. The home plate umpire is Rob Drake, and I'm not sure exactly what's going on here, but he's on his way out to talk to the crew chief, Joe West. And I'm wondering if there's something with the stadium. He popped right out from behind home plate before the first pitch, walked over to the Brewers bench, and now looks like they're going over to the Pirates bench. Maybe, I'm not sure. I mean, are they? I guess they could be issuing warnings. I don't want to take a guess here, but
no, they would do that.
Feel like,
yeah, they would do that. I mean, they can do that before the start of a game, but they do that when they exchange the lineups. They wouldn't be delaying the game for something like that, but who knows?
Well, we'll have to put Telly Hughes on that. He's our reporter. We'll see if he can dig something up as we carry along. So whatever it is, it's settled, and we're ready to play ball here today as Worley deals his first offering to Carlos Gomez, and it's a strike, and off we go. A lot of energy in the ballpark today, and there has been in this series. Very important series for both teams. The Brewers are in a desperate position to win this game if they are going to remain relevant for the rest of the season. 6 games remaining after today, and the Brewers feeling like they have to win this one today, and they're going to have to win pretty much all of their games for the remainder of the schedule.
And if they do, it's going to get interesting. It's going to get the Pirates a little bit nervous, I would imagine, energize this Brewers club.
Now the Brewers are 4 back in the loss column. That's of note, even though in the standings they're 3.5 back. While the Brewers take tomorrow off, the Pirates will be in Atlanta, and they'll start a 4-game series against the Braves. Pittsburgh has 4 in Atlanta, then 3 in Cincinnati to finish the season.
And Worley, one of those guys, not a hard thrower. I mean, he's barely going to touch 90 miles an hour. He's got an assortment of off-speed pitches. Throws a lot of strikes. 22 walks, 70 strikeouts for Worley, and just shy of 100 innings of work this year.
Now the Brewers need to get their big bats going. They've been relying on a lot of role players, and recently September call-ups for run production. Have not scored many runs at all on this road trip. As Gomez over to third base, Josh Harrison. He's been busy this series. Shown an excellent glove all series long, and he makes the play to start the day for Vance Worley.
And the Pirates defensively have been very good after a shaky start to begin the year. Your Pirates Menard's defense, same lineup as last night. Marte, McCutchen, Snyder in the outfield. Josh Harrison's fielding a lot of ground balls in this series at third base. Mercer and Walker up the middle. Ike Davis at first, and Russell Martin, the fine catcher, behind home plate.
26-year-old Vance Worley spent some time in Philadelphia, 4 years there in the big leagues, came up in their system, and then last year was with the Minnesota Twins. Worley finished third in the Rookie of the Year voting in 2011. They gave the award to a pitcher that year. That was the year Craig Kimbrell won the Rookie of the Year. Worley burst onto the scene with the Phillies, won 11 games that season. It has been downhill since for him. But he's pitching well this year for the Pirates when he's gotten his chance. He's making his 16th start. He's been able to keep his ERA in the low threes.
And he's won his last 2 decisions and has pitched well in his last 3. He's won 2 in a row, but right after losing 3 straight.
Scooter Gennett with 1 away. And a ground ball toward the shortstop Jordy Mercer for out number 2. Now the Brewers on this entire road trip have been in very close games decided late. They've won 2, lost 3 thus far on the road trip. Felt like they could have won a series in St. Louis, let one get away in the 8th inning in the 3rd and final game, the rubber game of that series, and then let a game get away in the 8th inning in the opener here on Friday night. Scored late last night to win 1-0.
Yeah, pitching has been unbelievable for the Brewers on this road trip. Starting rotation, bullpen. Just got to start scoring some runs.
The Brewers have scored just 8 runs in 5 games on this road trip thus far. Have not scored more than 3 runs in a game. That was in their win against St. Louis in 12 innings to start this road trip on Tuesday. They played 2 extra inning games on this road trip. A 12-inning victory in St. Louis and then a 13-inning loss against the Cardinals. But a couple of streaks snapped last night. The Brewers snapped their 3-game slide and they snapped the the Pirates' 5-game winning streak, which had been the longest of the season for the Pirates.
Yeah, and coming into this series, the Pirates' offense has been clicking on all cylinders, but the Brewers' pitching staff has kept them down.
2-1 to Lucroy. Lucroy sought out reporters today after accusations that he called for the beanball last night in the 2nd inning. He was incensed about that notion. There was a lot of discussion that he tugged on his jersey, which somebody felt like that was the hit batter signal, I guess. And Lucroy made it clear today that was not the case. He does that all the time and did not appreciate the sentiment. Ground ball. Look at Harrison. Man, this guy can pick it. Got great hands. 3 ground ball outs. A 3-up, 3-down inning. And now it'll be Willie Peralta on the hill for the Brew Crew. Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards. By Miller Lite, now in the original can. It's Miller time. By Toyota, let's go places. And by Southwest Airlines. Without a heart, it's just a machine. Downtown Pittsburgh on a Sunday afternoon. No score. We head to the bottom of the first. Brewers go in order in the top half. 3 ground ball outs to start it for Vance Worley. And now Willie Peralta ready to face Clint Hurdle and the Pittsburgh Pirates. And they're sitting in a good spot for that second wild card position. Trying to make it back-to-back years in the postseason. The Pirates were the wild card team last year. They won a wild card game here in Pittsburgh. They beat the Reds. Hurdle's lineup is brought to you by Associated Bank. You got Harrison, Snyder, and McCutchen at the top. Neil Walker, Russell Martin, Starling Marte in the middle. Ike Davis, Jordy Mercer, Vance Worley rounded out. That's the same lineup with the position players that Hurdle had in there last night. And Willie Peralta takes the ball for the Brew Crew, and it is another big start for him this afternoon.
Man, he's got to come out strong. You know, Willie's had a very good month so far in September. 1-1 at 275 earned run average. Picked up a win against the Marlins. Pitched well against St. Louis in a no decision in a game that the Brewers won in 12 innings, 3-2. A 2-1 career against the Pittsburgh Pirates. He's made 4 starts, but this is the first one he's made here at PNC Park.
Got a chance to win his 17th game of the season here tonight as Josh Harrison swings away at the first pitch. Peralta's going to have 2 more starts in the regular season. His next outing will be at Miller Park against the Chicago Cubs. Harrison comes out swinging away against Peralta. We'll see how the matchup goes today. The Pirates can hit the fastball. They're one of those teams, as we mentioned in the open, they hunt fastballs and they usually have a lot of success. Peralta relies on a lot of fastballs for his success. But it's no ordinary heater for Willie Peralta.
He's got good life on it, some sink and some tail and big velocity. But you know, the difference for him his last couple of starts has been his slider. He's actually been throwing some changeups too.
And there's a slider, and it's a good one right out of the gate. Strikes out Josh Harrison for the first out. That is a good sign early for Willie Peralta.
Let's check out the Menards Brewers defense. You got Gerardo Parra getting his first start out in left field in this series. Gomez, Braun round out the outfield. Ramirez, Segura, Jeanette, and Overbay from third to first. And Jonathan Lucroy behind home plate. Kyle Overbay with a couple of doubles in yesterday's game gets another start.
Here's Travis Snyder digging in. Back in the 2 spot in the order here today for Hurdle. And he is one of the many that they have with double-digit home run totals. All of their position players today have hit at least 10 homers. They have 9 on their roster with at least 10 home runs. Snyder has 11 homers with 35 driven in. He's a .262 hitter. Had a double yesterday down the right field line against Garza. That came in the first inning.
The Pirates third in the National League in home runs, and that's a bit surprising given they play in this ballpark. Tough to hit him out here. Get him down the lines, you're all right, but in the gaps, I would imagine the ball is going to carry a little bit better today than it has in the first 2 games of the series. Wind's blowing out pretty strong to left.
Coming off the Allegheny River from the right field pole to the left field pole. We saw a few balls get knocked down toward right field last night. Beautiful venue, and it's even more beautiful when it is packed and has that kind of atmosphere here. As Peralta walks Travis Snyder, so a 1-out walk following the strikeout. Snyder will reach, and here comes Andrew McCutchen. McCutchen hit twice yesterday. The one that got Garza ejected in the 5th inning stung him a little bit. He was packed in ice last night with his forearm. And you wonder, you can't get in the mind of Willie Peralta, but you wonder how he'll approach Andrew McCutchen today.
You just got to pitch your game. If you got to come inside, I mean, Willie lives inside from time to time with that good tailing fastball. McCutchen stands on top of the plate and dives to the outside corner. He's only been hit 9 times this year. That's not that many.
McCutchen on the ground, one hop to Segura. Jeanette, the pivot in time on a double play. 6-4-3 it goes. And a big hitter retired. We head to the second. Scoreless, off and running in Pittsburgh. Pennsylvania. Scoreless as we head to the second inning. We've had a little conversation between the umpires in both benches, and for an update on that, let's check in with Telly Hughes. What's going on down there, Telly?
Well, BA, the delay was caused by the instant replay machine. It wasn't up and running, and both umpires wanted to make sure that that was going to be available once the game started, and so that was the small delay, but they were obviously able to work that out, and that was the brief delay.
So it's back operational.
Yes.
All right. That's good news. Heaven forbid you have to go back the old way when just your eyes made the calls, right?
Right.
They can do that, though. Here's Aramis Ramirez starting it off. He swings and fouls the first pitch away. Ramirez, just when you think he's coming out of it and going to get on a hot streak, he is back in a slump. He's been swinging early in counts. Brewers desperately need him to get going offensively.
0 for 8 in the series. Has grounded into a couple of double plays.
And he knows it. Ramirez knows the importance of his bat on this ball club. And you start looking at Gomez and Lucroy, Ramirez, Braun. Those are the 4 that have to drive the bus.
And nobody knows that more than those 4, no doubt.
0-2 the count. Worley delivers, and Ramirez in the air right field. That's slicing away from Snyder, and not a whole lot of room down there. It ends up in the seats.
Hey, look at that start that Worley made against the Brewers back on August 24th at Miller Park. 6 in the 3rd innings, gave up 4 runs, all 4 runs coming in the first 2 innings. So the Brewers were able to get to him early, but then he was able to settle down pretty nicely. At a 3-up, 3-down first.
And a hot ground ball. That's going to make it through. A base hit on an 0-2 pitch. Ramirez with a single. And the first hit of the ball game. It's a leadoff hit here in the second inning for Milwaukee.
And good to see Ramirez not trying to pull it. Right back through the middle. And Ramirez able to get things started here in the second inning.
Ryan Braun will step in. And Braun turns on the first pitch, pulls it foul. Braun was thrown at twice yesterday. He was missed on both occasions. And that's what got the warnings in place. Home plate umpire Marty Foster after Edinson Volquez missed Braun a couple of times. Braun stands off the plate a great deal. But like McCutchen, pitchers know they've got to work Braun inside.
Tully was talking about it in the pregame show today that the Pirates far and away lead all of baseball in hit batters. So it's one of those things. I mean, your pitching staff aggressive, not afraid to come inside. And once in a while, your own guys are going to get busted in. I think nobody knows that better than Clint Hurdle. He used to hit. He understands.
Quickly 0-2 on Braun. And a shot up the middle. Mercer's there. And that's going to start a 6-4-3 double play. Braun hit it hard, but Mercer was well positioned. And 2 quick outs with 1 swing of the bat. Wipes out the leadoff single for Milwaukee.
Yeah, this Pirates starting rotation has been throwing an awful lot of ground balls in this series. And because of that, they've been able to induce some double plays. That was about Turla made as it gets. Right up the middle, and no problem for Mercer and Neil Walker.
Base is empty, 2 away for Gerardo Parra. Parra shows bunt, drops one down. It is a beauty. No chance for Russell Martin. A bunt single for Gerardo Parra.
Ordinarily, you're not thinking about a bunt for a base hit with 2 outs and nobody on. Ordinarily, you want to try and drive the ball, get into scoring position. A beautiful bunt with Josh Harrison playing way behind the bag, and absolutely no chance from Martin or the pitcher Worley. Beautiful bunt. Let's see if he tries to steal second base.
Now Ron Renicky commenting on the Pirates as a staff, how well they hold runners. They give their catcher Martin a chance to throw out base runners at second. Here's Lyle Overbay now.
And don't think Russell Martin isn't largely responsible for that. I guarantee he stays on these guys about keeping runners close. Martin has a throwout percentage at 34%. That's how good he's been. And he needs some help from your pitchers.
By the way, that was the first ball of the inning by Worley. 9 pitches. His first 8 were strikes until he just missed on Overbay. Overbay almost hit one out of here last night. Pulls that one on the ground right to Davis for the out. Took it right on the bag. Overbay retired. Inning is over. The Brewers get a couple of hits but fail to score.
work in a scoreless game here in Pittsburgh. Willie Peralta will look to go deep in this ball game because they've been getting really good starting pitching and really good bullpen pitching, but nonetheless that bullpen has been worked a lot as of late. Matt Garza only went 4 1/3 last night, and when you factor in the couple of extra inning games, that bullpen has really been worked. But Ron Renicky said everyone is at full strength. He would love to get Willie Peralta deep in this game, but with the off day tomorrow, all hands are on deck for this game here today, Theo.
Yeah, no question, and they've done a great job. And Marco Estrada's been the guy leading the group out there. He has 11 2/3 consecutive scoreless innings now. He did a terrific job yesterday after Garza was ejected, getting out of that inning in the 5th inning with this crowd going crazy and the momentum on the Pirates side, and then he retired the Pirates in order in the 6th inning as well. And that was an important piece to yesterday's 1-0 win.
His starting rotation last 10 games have only allowed 10 earned runs. 1 run a game. That's how good those starting pitchers have been. Brewers need to now translate that into victories. You got to get the bats going.
Neil Walker leads off for the Pirates. He'll be followed by Russell Martin and then Marte. Pirates in their throwback Sunday uniforms. A lot like what the Brewers do on Fridays with their retro ball and glove uniforms. There's a ground ball right to Overbay, and Walker is retired. Here's Russell Martin now. Has quickly become a fan favorite here in Pittsburgh in just his 2nd year with the Pirates, and he hit a decisive home run on Friday night. It was an 8th inning 3-run home run off Broxton that took it from a 2-0 Brewers lead to a 3-2 Pirates lead, and they would add one more in that inning, and they won the game 4-2.
This guy's about as valuable as it gets, even if he doesn't get a single hit all season. What he does behind home plate, kind of the quarterback defensively. He's one of those guys that will shake it up in that clubhouse, and not too many better defensively. Central Division has some pretty good catchers. Think about it: Lucroy, Russell Martin, Yadier Molina.
Devin Mesoraco made an all-star team this year, the Reds catcher.
Wellington Castillo not too bad either over there in Chicago.
Lucroy was the all-star starter when Molina was injured and couldn't play. Mesoraco made the team as Martin sends one to right, and yeah, the wind's really affecting balls down the right field line. That was knocked down significantly. 2 outs.
Hey, mark your calendars. Brewers on Deck will be held on Sunday, January 25th at the Wisconsin Center. Games, autographs, and photos with your favorite players are just a fraction of all that the Brewers on Deck has to offer. Plus, tickets are just $15 for adults and $9 for children if purchased in advance. Visit brewers.com/on-deck for details.
2 quick outs for Peralta. Here is Starling Marte. And a big swing and a miss. Marte has big power. 13 homers this year, and expected to be a guy to hit 20 to 25 every season when he starts to know the league a little bit. Does have a couple of hits in this series. Infield hits. And Peralta right back at him with a 97-mile-an-hour fastball, and it's 0-2.
That's the one thing that's been very consistent for Peralta is his velocity. I can't remember a start all season that he hasn't had that big fastball working for him. He can get it up there at about 98 once in a while. Cruising speed 96. It's all about throwing that slider for strikes and being able to get the swings and misses. Get it close enough with 2 strikes to get him to chase.
One ball, 2 strikes, and there's the slider. Marte sounded like it was off the end of the bat. Gomez is there to make the play in a 3-up, 3-down inning. Big Willie off to a good start here today. To the 3rd we go, scoreless. Universe Rewind this afternoon had a milestone last night with Francisco Rodriguez, who came on to notch the save. And with that save, Frankie Rodriguez now in a tie for 10th all time, protecting a 1-0 lead. This year he's passed Jeff Montgomery, Goose Gossage, Tom Hankey, Rob Nen, Rick Aguilera, some of the great names. Most recently Raleigh Fingers, and he is now tied with Randy Myers, 347 career saves. I don't think anybody's going to catch Mariano Rivera ever.
And Francisco Rodriguez not even supposed to be a closer this year. Good thing the Brewers got him.
Vance Worley back to work. Gene Segura leads off, and there is strike one. Both of these pitchers are attacking the strike zone here early today. Worley's thrown 25 pitches, 19 of them for strikes. There's another strike, and Segura pops it foul. Ike Davis up against the railing, runs out of room.
Sometimes you can throw too many strikes. That 0-2 base hit from Aramis Ramirez. Sometimes nothing wrong with throwing one out of the zone, especially when you're ahead in the count. But Worley's already ahead of the game based on what he did against the Brewers at Miller Park. The Brewers had a 4-0 lead from the first 2 innings.
Segura on the ground, backhanded by Mercer, a jump throw, and Segura is safe. The speedy Segura beats it out. That was a heck of a play by Mercer, even to make it close, but an infield hit for Segura.
Well, all he has to do is get the shortstop going in the hole just a little bit, and you have a chance to get the base hit as fast as he gets down that line. Man, looks like the Pirates aren't going to challenge. Anything that's close, ordinarily, the guy going to go out there. Of course, Clinton Hurdle's having a difficult time walking right these days.
Now he's got the bad hip. So no challenge. We play on, and Peralta up there to try to bunt Segura over. Gets the bunt down. It's a good one. Worley's only play is first. And well executed by the Brewer pitcher. A sacrifice bunt for Peralta. Segura to second with one away in the top of the order coming up.
Yeah, bunting's been a difficult thing for both of these teams in this series. Haven't had too many successful bunts, but Willie able to drop that down nicely.
Now the Brewers with 3 hits first time through the batting order. Gomez grounded out in the first inning. And playing the role of run producer here in the third. 1 out. Segura at second. Gomez takes a strike.
Brewers usually pretty good against pitchers that throw a lot of strikes, and Vance Worley's been pounding the strike zone today. Basically hard stuff, fastball, slider.
A strike on the inside corner. 0-2 the count on Gomez. Carlos missed a week with a wrist injury and still showing some of the effects of that injury. Not really driving the ball like we're accustomed to as he skies this one into right field. Snyder wants it, and the second out of the inning.
Yeah, I'm not sure how healthy Carlos Gomez is. I mean, not able to really, finish it off with that wrist, swinging more with his body than his hands. And that's a function of something not being right.
He's now 0 for his last 15 at the plate.
And they're starting to really show some signs of frustration.
Now to leave it up to Scooter Gennett with 2 away. Gennett grounded to short in the first inning. And back up the middle. Mercer's right there. And that's that for the Brewers in the third. They strand a runner in scoring position. An infield hit to start it. Nothing doing in the third inning. From PNC Park in Pittsburgh. Well, this October, history will be made as baseball's postseason moves to America's new sports network. Fox Sports 1 is your new home for baseball's National League Division and Championship Series, and it all begins this October. At the division leaders right now. Let's take a look at the pulse on the playoffs, courtesy of Marshfield Clinic. Washington has secured a division title. St. Louis leads the Central. The Dodgers up 3.5 on the Giants. Giants are up a game on the Pirates for the top wild card spot. And then the Brewers are 3.5 back, 4 in the loss column for WC2, wild card second position. Two wild card teams will play it off in a one-game do or die scenario and then advance into the league division series, the winner. Well, if it started right now, the Brewers would be on the outside looking in. Washington would host the wild card winner, and then you'd have the Cardinals and the Dodgers in the first round. Peralta facing Ike Davis. He's allowed one walk, wiped it out immediately with a double play on McCutchen, so he's faced the minimum through the first 2 innings. And a strike on Davis. 2 balls, 1 strike. Left-handed power hitter coming to the Pirates from the Mets. Davis drove in a key run late, an add-on run in the 8th inning of Friday's game. That followed the Russell Martin 3-run homer.
And the Brewers very fortunate in yesterday's ball game to get through that 8th inning unscathed. Although they had to do a lot of work to do it.
Now the Pirates had the bases loaded and 1 out in a scoreless game.
8th inning's been the trouble inning on this road trip.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Full count now. Pirates fans have been a little disgruntled with Ike Davis for most of the year, but he has really come on recently as a pinch hitter. When he's not in the lineup, and Hurdle's still operating in a platoon at first base. And there's ball 4. That's a trade he brought over from the Mets. Takes a lot of pitches. Davis draws the walk. Second walk issued by Peralta. This time a leadoff walk here in the 3rd inning.
Yeah, Willie only walked 1 his last time out against the Cardinals. So he had good command. Was able to work ahead in the count. It's always very important, but you know, this Pirate ball club, although they do like the fastball, relatively patient up there at the plate.
Peralta went 7 innings against St. Louis in his last start, gave up 2 earned runs, and those earned runs came in the 1st inning of that game. And then he settled down, pitched well. That was a game where the Brewers had 11 scoreless innings from the mound. Peralta had 6 of those, and a game the Brewers won in 12 innings 3-2. That was the first game of this road trip. Mercer, a little half swing foul. 0-2 the count on the Pirates shortstop.
And you just wonder to yourself, what if this Brewers offense was getting some runs on the board? They have not been able to score all that often on this road trip. A lot of zeros, a lot of no-run innings for both clubs on this entire road trip. I was going to count them up, but I got lazy last night.
Understandable.
Decided to pack my clothes.
It's kind of sad. It's a sad story. Hopefully the Brewers can figure it out. They've been a pretty hot and cold, streaky offensive team. Desperate for an offensive breakout. You're hoping it doesn't come in 2015. Had him 0-2. Willie now 2-2 on Mercer. Batting in the 8th spot. Always a key out. Get to the bottom of the order. You got the pitcher coming up next. You certainly can move through this inning if you can get Mercer. If you don't get the 8th place hitter after a leadoff walk, that could set the Pirates up for a big inning. Allows your pitcher to either bunt the runners over or gives them a free pass to swing, and then you turn it over to the best hitters in the lineup with men on base. It's no secret, always a game plan. You have to control the bottom of the order in any major league lineup. 2-2. And a ground ball toward the middle. Segura's there. Steps on the back. Throw to first. Not in time. That'll be close. Might be one worth looking at.
Yeah, that was pretty close. It looked at real speed. It was pretty close. But Lyle Overbay gave the safe sign, telling Ron Renicky, don't bother. He was safe. What you like about those veteran guys? They don't try and pull the wool over your eyes. They know.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell, and it looked like he was safe. Overbay told Renicky right away he was safe. So don't waste your time coming out.
John Shelby is the Brewers coach who handles the replay in the clubhouse. And he passed the signal up. No need to challenge. So one away. Mercer now at first on the fielder's choice. Here's Worley, likely up there to bunt. And the Pirate pitcher squares early, takes a ball. Peralta is no easy pitcher to get a bunt down on. With that blazing fastball. There's a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Worley not hitting much this year. He's been in and out of the rotation. He's getting the spot today vacated by Charlie Morton. Now Ramos Ramirez is creeping in over third base, expecting a bunt, and Worley gets it down. That's a good one. Lucroy will take it. And there is out number 2. That's about as good as you can do it from Vance Worley. Sacrifice. It advances Mercer. 2 outs in the inning, and we go back to the top of the order now.
Yeah, so both pitchers able to get their job done. Drop down bunts. Willie did it, and now Worley setting the table for the top of the order. The Brewers had a man at second base. Gene Segura with only 1 out. Josh Harrison here with 2 outs.
Well, we mentioned John Shelby, the Brewers replay man in the clubhouse. This is his nephew, Josh Harrison, who is making quite a name for himself this year. He burst onto the scene as a plus utility player last year. Has settled in as the everyday third baseman now for the Pirates. Has a chance to win a batting title this season. Is second in the league starting play today. He's hitting .317 to begin play. Justin Morneau is a point better of the Rockies. The Pirates have not had a third baseman win a batting title since Bill Madlock did. He did it twice. 1981, 1983. That's where it stands right now among the batting average leaders. Morneau hitting .318, Harrison now .316, and then there's Posey. 4th on that list is Andrew McCutchen. Two balls and a strike. Dangerous hitter at the plate with a runner in scoring position. Ground ball up the middle. Segura. And the throw is low. No chance to get the speedy Harrison. Once that ball got past the mound, that was going to be an infield hit.
And those are the kind of hits you need to win batting titles. I mean, you got to be able to leg out those infield hits. Harrison, who struck out his first time up, able to lay the bat on it. Not a bad pitch by Peralta on a 2-1 count, a slider. Not sure what it hit, but it changed directions. It might have hit the seam of the grass. That was very strange the way that ball took a little bit of a turn. It looked like it might have been a much easier play. But it changed directions all of a sudden.
Segura would have been wise to just hold on to that ball. Well, now it's 1st and 3rd, and some stress pitches coming up. Travis Snyder at the plate. Peralta hits the edge for a strike. Snyder had a hit yesterday, was 1 for 3. Been swinging the bat well. 7 hits his last 8 games. He's driven in 3 runs during that stretch. And that one's on the ground right to Jeanette, who will spin and throw him out. Peralta gets the ground ball when he needs it. And another scoreless inning. On Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin, and by Marshfield Clinic. Don't just live, shine. Sunday afternoon, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Pennant race baseball today on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Top of the 4th inning in a scoreless game. Brewers won 1-0 last night. Ron Renicky is still searching for some offense. He has changed the lineup a number of times. He's tried different combinations. He's been raving about the pitching staff, rightly so. It's a starting rotation over the last 10 games with an ERA under a 1.5 per game. But it hasn't translated into as many wins as you would think those numbers would.
Right. You would think you're on a stretch of about 8 of 9, 8 of 10, something like that. But the Brewers have had a difficult time scoring runs. Of course, in this road trip, both teams have had a difficult time scoring runs.
Jonathan Lucroy will lead off for the Brew Crew. You got Lucroy, Ramirez, and Braun. And the second time through the order against Vance Worley.
Through the first 3 innings of this game today, there have been 107 half innings. You get it?
I'm with you. On the road trip.
Brewers
and the
opposition.
Opponent. Okay.
There have been 95 scoreless half innings in that stretch.
Wow. So your hunch was correct.
Only 12 half innings that there have been runs scored, and 4 of those innings, only 4 have been more than 1 run.
And what's your analysis of that?
Good pitching.
Pennant race baseball.
I'm going to stay positive. I'm not going to say bad offense. I'm going to say good pitching.
Pressure at bats.
Probably. Pirates pitching staff has been very good.
There's a shot right back to Worley. And he makes a play for the out. That was headed for center field. Vance Worley with an excellent play for the first out.
Of course, anytime I do math, it's unofficial.
It's all unofficial. We understand that.
But if it's not completely accurate, it's close. Fields his position well. You can see the way he squares himself up, able to make the play easily to get Lucroy. But there have been a lot of zeros on the scoreboard between here and St. Louis.
There's another shot, and this is Walker playing up the middle, and Ramirez is out.
I think a lot of it has to do with these shifts that have been taking place these days. I mean, the Brewers have been robbed of hits. I can't say exactly robbed because of the defense, but they're hitting them right where they're at.
Well, don't forget, you can tweet us today. Use your hashtag WisFanPhoto to send us your photo tweets, and we'll put it on an upcoming broadcast maybe. Brought to you by AT&T. 2 quick outs. Ryan Braun at the plate. Worley continues just pouring in the strikes. 36 pitches, 29 strikes thus far. Did not throw a ball last inning. 8 pitches, all strikes in the 3rd inning, and he opens up Braun with strike 1.
And as we said a couple innings ago, ordinarily the Brewer offense pretty good against guys that do that. Around the plate, throwing strikes.
Braun sneaks that one through, a base hit. So leans out and pulls one through the hole between short and third, and a 2-out single for Ryan Braun.
Yep, able to reach out on that breaking pitch of Worley and knock it into left. A little bit down on the end of the bat. It's amazing how he can cover that outside corner as far as he is off of home plate. Down out over the plate, and Ryan Braun able to go out and get it, hook it into left.
Gerardo Parra now with 2 outs. He bunted his way on last time up. Worley starts him with a breaking ball and a swing and a miss. Parra had a beautiful bunt. Chopped it down the third base line. Brewers have 4 hits against Worley, 2 of them infield hits. Parra's bunt, and Segura hit a ground ball in the hole at short. 0-2 on Gerardo.
A couple of off-speed pitches. That's the way pitchers have been working Parra. A lot of curveballs.
And he just put it in the same spot, and Parra swings away at all 3. Down he goes. That's good pitching by Worley. Excellent command.
In the bottom of the 4th inning. Hey, get your tickets for the Brewers finale of the regular season at home this Friday, September 26th through Sunday the 28th, when the Brewers take on the Cubs to close out the 2014 regular season. Call 414-902-4000 or visit Brewers.com.
Well, the Brewers have one more segment to go on this 3-city road trip. Cincinnati is next. Off day tomorrow in Cincinnati, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday against the Reds. Thursday will be an afternoon game. Friday, Saturday, Sunday at home against the Cubs, and the Brewers are hoping those are meaningful games. They need a victory today to keep that going for one more day at least. Andrew McCutchen starts it for the Pirates. He bounced into a 6-4-3 double play in the first. Peralta got him on a good slider, got him to roll over one.
He started him off with a slider too. This hit back.
Gallardo had a great start Friday. Garza was going along well before he was ejected yesterday. Willie coming inside, almost hitting McCutchen.
Come in there again. That's where you got to pitch him. See, his first move is right toward first base, meaning he's going to be got the open stance. The front foot goes right toward the pitcher, which means he's closing up, diving at home plate. Diving meaning covering that outside corner.
And that's ball 4.
Can't be timid coming inside.
Well, McCutchen a leadoff walk. Peralta with back-to-back innings, putting the leadoff batter on with a walk. Willie's pitching here at PNC Park for the first time in his career, and has completed the NL Central roundup. He's pitched at all stadiums in the NL Central now. McCutchen a threat to run. Walker a threat to hit one out. The dangerous power bat at the plate.
Man, he likes the fastball. He can turn on anybody's fastball.
Wind is really picking up, blowing in from right field. Looks like a crosswind from the right field pole to the left field pole. We've seen a few fly balls to right. They've been just beat up. The ball's going to travel pretty well down the left field line, though. Second time through the order here. The Pirates got an infield hit from Harrison in the third. And now a walk to McCutchen. Willie held the Pirates hitless first time through the batting order. And the only hit thus far is that ground ball by Harrison. There goes McCutchen, and a swing and a ground ball right to Segura. And that starts a double play. Wow.
Man, there's that defensive shifting. You know, the Garth Ord's defense and had Gene Segura positioned perfectly. Can't ask for an easier double play. Check it out. Look where Segura's starting. He's covering the bag, and this ball's right to him. Doesn't get any easier than that.
Hit the rise of the mound, and it put it in a perfect spot for Segura to start a 6-3 double play. Well, there have been some bullets hit on the ground by both teams to start this game.
This guy's playing in the wrong era. 10 years ago, that's a base hit.
That's right.
Maybe 5 years ago.
Here's Russell Martin now with 2 outs, nobody on. He hits one on the ground. And much more manageable for Segura. And Peralta works around a leadoff walk, gets his second double play of the game. 4 scoreless in Pittsburgh.
With the Corona community, Brewers Community Foundation is doing big things for everyday people, like giving college scholarships to hardworking kids, constructing homes for deserving families, providing dental care for children in need, and refurbishing neighborhood baseball fields, to name a few. Organizations that focus on health, education, recreation, and basic needs are supported throughout the season by BCF, players, sponsors, and other supporters. When we all play on the same team, everyone wins.
All right, Telly, thanks. Good work by the Brewers Community Foundation this season. Ready to go here in the 5th inning. Lyle Overbay will lead off for the Brewers. Bottom of the order coming up, Overbay, Segura, and the pitcher Peralta. And we are scoreless here through 4 in Pittsburgh. Feels a lot like last night's game. Vance Worley getting the start for Charlie Morton, and a strike to Overbay. Charlie Morton was scratched, has a sports hernia, and unable to make his start. They've got major concerns about Morton for the remainder of the season. We saw Edinson Volquez last night. He looks like he's a legitimate number 2 for them. Garrett Cole is their ace. You got Francisco Liriano as well. It's been a good pitching staff for the Pirates this year,
and they've been particularly good lately. One of the reasons why they've been on such a good run.
Overbay takes one down and in. Brewers have gotten their hits through the first 4 innings. They have 4 hits, but have been unable to cash it in. 2 of those 4 hits are infield hits.
Yeah, very consistent in the strike zone is Worley, and basically doing it with 2 pitches. He threw a couple of curveballs to Gerardo Parra, but basically has been fastball slider, and those are guys, as we keep talking about, that the Brewers seem to hit pretty well. Not trying to trick you too much, and throwing the baseball in the strike zone.
He's only thrown 9 balls in this game. This is his 46th pitch, and a swing and a miss. Overbay strikes out. So the first 2 strikeouts for Vance Worley have come to the last 2 hitters, both left-handed hitters, and both on that down and in slider. Hey fans, don't forget to set your compass due north Thursday nights on Fox Sports Wisconsin. You can join host Bill and Laura. They'll take a look at the stories and adventures of outdoor enthusiasts in the upper Midwest. That's Due North Outdoors Thursday, 6 p.m. only on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Here's Segura. Reached on an infield hit his last time up. In this series, the Brewers have 15 total hits, but only 5 extra base hits. There's a strike. That's been a theme for the Pirates as well. They have just 4 extra base hits.
Well, again, the pitching's been very good. I mean, the Brewers pitching on this road trip has been phenomenal. They just needed a few runs, and this would be a heck of a road trip so far.
Neither team with an extra base hit today. Brewers got a home run from Ricky Weeks in game 1. Martin hit the 3-run homer in the 8th inning on Friday night. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And these are the conditions in this ballpark where you can hit some home runs. I mean, the ball's going to carry a little bit better during the day, especially the way the wind's blowing here this afternoon. Looks like now it's blowing straight out.
Segura down the right field line. Snyder is on the run, and that ball is foul. Not by much. Segura making a run at a triple if that gets down fair.
That had some carry on it right there.
It did. It's changed a lot. You're right. The winds have totally changed in the last inning.
Yeah, blowing straight out to center field, so everything's going to get a bit of a push. Maybe blow these clouds out of here. Don't need any rain today.
Sun's been shining brightly today here in Pittsburgh. It was overcast when we started the game. They thought we might have some rains a little later. Nice day for baseball. They got a packed house here in Pittsburgh. 2-2 to Segura. And a little jam shot pop up. Mercer with the glasses on is there for the out. 2 up, 2 down. And that will bring up Willie Peralta now with 2 away. And Peralta into center field. McCutchen eases back. And a 3-up, 3-down inning for Vance Worley. Another pitcher's duel in Pittsburgh. No score. Bottom of the 5th we go.
Three-city road trip for the Brewers before they come home. And the Brewers welcome the Chicago Cubs to Miller Park on Friday, September 26th. Through Sunday the 28th, as part of Fan Appreciation Weekend, the Brewers are offering a number of giveaways and prizes all weekend long, ranging from 2015 tickets to a brand new Chevy Equinox. Visit Brewers.com/fan appreciation for details.
Now Willie Peralta back at it as we head to the bottom of the 5th inning. And another day where the Brewers pitching is going to have to keep the offense down. Peralta has walked 3 batters in this game, but he has wiped out 2 of them with double plays. He got one on McCutchen in the first. And then Neil Walker last inning hit a rocket right at Segura. Southwest Airlines non-stoppable plays, a couple of double plays for Willie Peralta.
Yeah, 3 walks is odd, only 1 hit. That was an infield hit back in the 3rd inning.
Peralta's been able to get 7 outs via the ground ball. That's usually an indication that he is right on the mound and has good stuff when he's getting the ground ball outs. Starling Marte leads off, and a fly ball right field. Ryan Braun is there for out number 1.
And he gets that good tailing fastball in on their hands. That 2-seamer. He's able to get a good velocity on it and bust them inside the right-handed hitters.
Mark Atanasio, the Brewers owner, is here today. Stopped by the booth to say hello and hoping to get this thing turned around. He is, you could tell he's feeling the anxiety like everybody else with the season winding down. Just 6 games are left after today. Brewers have a lot of work to do. Mike Davis on the first pitch, a pop-up Segura's got it for out number 2.
Brewers usually do pretty well when the boss shows up.
That's what I'm thinking.
Well, hopefully going to bring him some luck today and head into Cincinnati in an off day after winning 2 out of 3 in Pittsburgh. That'd be nice.
Doug Melvin, the Brewers general manager, is in attendance. Gord Ash, assistant GM. Everybody is here and hoping to move this thing along in the right direction. A win today would make the Brewers 2.5 back, 3 in the loss column, and it's hard to say you got favorable opponents this time of year, but the Brewers do have the Cubs and the Reds to finish the season.
Cubs have not been any picnic for the Brewers lately.
Now the Cubs swept Milwaukee, as a matter of fact, at Wrigley Field last time around, although the Cubs have really struggled lately. The Cubs did win yesterday. They beat the Dodgers in a comeback win. Jordy Mercer in the air, and Gomez will make the play. That is a 6-pitch inning for Peralta. 3 up, 3 down. No score. We go to the 6th. Renardo Lowe, Brian Anderson, Bill Schroeder, Telly Hughes. Great to have you with us today on Fox Sports Wisconsin. No score as we go to the 6th inning from Pittsburgh. And it's time for our carsoup.com trivia question. Who are the 3 pitchers in Brewers history to save at least 40 games in a season? You know, one of them is active right now, Frankie Rodriguez. K-Rod got the save last night. Made it look relatively easy in a 1-0 game. K-Rod is 1 off the league high for saves. 2 players hold that spot. Trevor Rosenthal of the Cardinals, Craig Kimbrell of the Braves have 44 apiece. And then Rodriguez with 43. Gomez looks to be injured there.
So apparently he slipped as he goes out to the on deck circle. Yeah, ankle. Slipped on the rubberized on deck circle.
Oh, see if Gomez is going to be able to continue here. That's athletic trainer Dan Wright that was checking on him. Gomez is already beat up. He's been dealing with the wrist injury and hasn't been able to go through his normal hitting routine. He's a guy that likes to hit a lot. He takes early batting practice whenever he can. He takes BP with the team.
Does a lot of bunting during regular batting practice to save his bullets. Make sure he doesn't overwork that wrist before the game.
All right, Gomez ready to go. He leads off the 6th inning. The Brewers and the Pirates are scoreless. Top of the order here, and the 3rd time through against Worley, and that was not a pretty swing by Gomez. Carlos is 0 for his last 15 at the plate. Hand injuries, wrist injuries, and hitters can be a problem. Disrupts your timing, especially if you start protecting one area. Develop some bad habits.
Well, if you feel like you can't be as quick as you normally are, you're going to start that bat sooner with the body than you'd like, and that's when you end up swinging the pitches out of the strike zone.
On a bounce, and Walker knocked it down, recovers, and is able to throw out Gomez. I'm just watching how he finished his sprint. And it took him a little while to get stopped, although his gait looked fine.
Yeah, it looked pretty good running down the line. And we'll see if the Brewers decide to keep him in the ball game. That's pretty good run. Looked okay.
It's a 4-3 ground out, and we'll keep an eye on Gomez here. Scooter Gennett with 1 out. Ground ball to second. Vance Worley's making this look easy today.
Oh boy.
Ton of ground balls in this game. Couple of fly ball outs last inning. I got him for 3 fly ball outs. He has 2 strikeouts. Everything else ground ball outs.
Yep, one of them pop up to second base. Of the 3 fly ball outs. And getting him early in the count, his pitch count is in tremendous shape. 57 pitches with 2 outs in the 6th.
46 of those 57 pitches have been for strikes. That is a remarkable number in the middle of a game. A lot of early outs, early swinging for the Brewers. And so interesting too, because Ron Renicky, we were just having this conversation before the game about the Brewers' approach and feeling like, you know, the lineup which they put together is a free swinging lineup. That's the personnel. Renicky's preference is to have a lineup that is a little more patient, sees more pitches, uses all fields. So he's in a little bit of conflict with the personnel that he has, but he manages to the personnel. And then you get a day like this when the Brewers are hacking away early and making a lot of quick outs.
It just must be some late movement on the pitches that Worley's throwing. Bases 2 pitches, a slider and a fastball. Nothing really tricky. Pretty straight fastball. At least it appears that it's pretty straight, but apparently he's got some movement on it. And getting the Brewer hitters to hit on top of the baseball.
Well, not only do the Pirates pitching staff hit a lot of batters, they lead the league in that category, but they also get the most ground balls of any pitching staff in the National League. Orioles pitching staff gets a ground ball rate of over 51%. So more than half of balls put in play are ground balls. Lucroy is 0 for 2. He's grounded out twice.
And if there's any ballpark or one of a few ballparks you can get away with fly balls, you can do it here. A lot of pitchers on this staff that use that sinker, and the slider. Not too many of those 4-seam fastball guys. We saw that from Volquez yesterday. A lot of movement.
Inside, did he go? Yes, he did. Unable to check it. On a pitch way inside. You don't see that from Lucroy very often. Worley must have good stuff going today. 3 up, 3 down inning.
Here in Pittsburgh, and all fans at Miller Park on Sunday, the 28th. The Brewers take on the Cubs. We'll get a scratch-off card with prizes ranging from 2015 tickets to game-used memorabilia to a free club-level suite. Call 414-902-4000 or visit brewers.com/fan appreciation for details.
Well, another tight one. Pitchers duel in Pittsburgh. We had the same thing yesterday, and it was a low-scoring affair here on Friday night as well. Willie Peralta trying to match zeros with Vance Worley. Worley leads off here in the 6th inning. Peralta coming off a 3-up, 3-down inning. He threw just 6 pitches last inning.
Big difference between today and last night. Last night, both teams had opportunities to score. There hasn't been much going on at all in this ball game. Best chance to score in this game is the 3rd inning for the Pirates.
Now the Brewers had 2 hits in the 2nd inning. The first hit was wiped out with a double play. Had a runner at second with 1 out in the 3rd inning and could not score as Worley foul tip into the middle. Lucroy, that'll be a strikeout on 3 pitches. Peralta wasting no time with Vance Worley. As promised earlier in the broadcast, we have the AT&T fan photo of the game. Don't forget to use the hashtag #WisFanPhoto. And that is a giant dog named Kathy. Now I'm guessing Kathy's the nice lady there with that big St. Bernard.
That's a handful right there. I mean, literally.
Literally. 2 hands full maybe down in the park. Harrison drops a bunt down. Ramirez has no play. Pittsburgh has 2 hits today, both by Harrison. They've both been infield hits.
Well, I guess anything you can do to get on base tonight or today is a good thing. That's a nice bunt. He hides it well, but Ramirez playing behind the bag, no chance. So good speed at first base for Pittsburgh.
Runner at first, 1 out. This crowd trying to get into this one. They've been quiet so far. And a throw to first and out at first.
Let's see you later.
Harrison picked off. What a throw by Peralta right on the bag. Harrison had just a bump towards second, and that cost him.
That's such quick feet by Willie Peralta. Shades of his position player days. Harrison looked like he wanted to take a little bit of a move towards second base, and Willie able to put a good throw over there and picked him off. He wasn't over there long. Perfect throw. Good tag by Overbay. Grab some pine.
Travis Snyder takes a ball. Well, that changes the inning. Now 2 outs, nobody on. Peralta falling behind 2-0. Talk about a buzzkill for the Pirates. Get a bunt single, scratch a base runner, and immediately get picked off.
Yeah, it looked like he was going to take off first pitch. I mean, he was itching. He was getting a little bit extra on the lead. He flinched towards second base. That's all it took to pick him off.
3-0 the count on Snyder. You got McCutchen coming up next. There's a strike. Outside corner. And a ground ball to Segura. Nice easy hop for him. And that one turns out well for Peralta. And a bunt single, but he picks off Harrison. And a quick 6th. Scoreless as we go to the 7th.
the ballpark. Hopefully the rains are going to hold off. And today's time of the game, Kelly's Bar in Oshkosh. If they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours, they get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a 2015 Brewers home game. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
We welcome all of those watching at Kelly's Bar.
What do you think? Rain clouds or not?
No rain clouds, but the wind has shifted again.
Yeah, watching the news this morning, they're talking like 5 o'clock rain.
Is that right? It does rain a lot here, you know.
We might be in trouble unless somebody scores here.
Both pitchers matching zeros, 6 innings apiece. Peralta's only given up the 2 hits. Both were infield hits. 2 of the 4 hits against Worley have been infield hits. Ramirez will start it. Takes a ball inside. Aramis singled in the 2nd inning. Came on an 0-2 pitch, and then he hit one sharply in the 4th right at Neil Walker.
It just seems like this Brewer ball club just can't pick up the delivery, the release point of Vance. Really throws across his body. And maybe a little bit of a deceptive motion, a little bit like Mike Fiers.
Ramirez into right field. Snyder just shy of the track, makes the catch for the out. Here comes Ryan Braun. You see his day at the plate, presented by Wendy's. Grounded into a double play in the 2nd inning. And a single in the 4th. That came with 2 outs. That has been the last Brewers base runner and last hit. 8 in a row retired by Worley. Well, the old saying, hitting is contagious. Lack of hitting is contagious as well. Everybody trying to do a little extra, do too much. Brewers have been unable to string together multiple hits.
2 hits in the 2nd inning, but as you talked about, a base hit by Ramirez to lead off the 2nd, followed by a double play ball. And then Gerardo Parra with a bunt single.
All 6 hits in this game combined are singles, and 4 infield hits among the 6. There's a strike. It's a pretty good fastball by Worley. When the Brewers saw him in Milwaukee, he was topping out around 90 miles an hour. He's hit 92 a couple of times today. He's had a good slider. Got a couple of strikeouts on that pitch. Braun got jammed. Pops it up, foul territory. Russell Martin is there to make the catch. 2 outs.
Yeah, had to count in his favor, 3-1. Not able to get the bat head out. Boy, hitters that hate that. Feel like you give away an at bat. If nothing else, you get out in front, maybe hook it foul somewhere. Braun a little bit behind that fastball.
So 2 outs. Here is Gerardo Parra. Hoping for a mistake on the first pitch. He loves swinging at the first pitch. He's got some power. Hit one of the 2 home runs for the Brewers on this road trip. Had one in St. Louis. Parra with a bunt single in the 2nd. Worley struck him out on 3 consecutive down and in sliders in the 4th inning. Back in there he goes, and Parra grounds out to end the inning. 10 batters in a row retired by Vance Worley. And we remain scoreless. Stretch time here in Pittsburgh. And we turn it over to PNC Park in their presentation of God Bless America. Enjoy.
We invite you now to stand and join the Pirates and Major League Baseball as we honor America. Here to lead us with God Bless America are students from the St. Gabriel School Choir.
In a home game for the Pirates here at this beautiful venue. Scoreless game. We head to the bottom of the 7th inning. This has been some performance by Peralta and Vance Worley. And they're getting riled up here at PNC. McCutchen leads off. Slow roller. And it's going to be a throw to first that is late. Another infield hit for the Pirates. Their third.
It just gives you a sense of how good this Brewers pitching staff has been in this series. This Pirate club rolling offensively before the Brewers got here. Putting up big numbers against the Boston Red Sox, and the Pirates have scored in 1 inning in this entire series. Unfortunately for the Brewers, it's a 4-run 8th on Friday and 3 infield hits today.
Brewers pitching has held the Pirates scoreless for 15 consecutive innings. Peralta has another leadoff batter on. He's had 2 double plays today that wiped out a couple of walks. Neil Walker was in the same spot in the 4th inning with McCutchen on to start the inning. And that gets by Lucroy. McCutchen to second. Not a good start to the inning for Peralta and the Brewers here. Infield hit, a wild pitch, and now the Pirates have the go-ahead run at second base. Actually, that's going to be scored as a passed ball.
Yeah, that's certainly one that Lucroy should have had. Almost as if he got crossed up.
Very fast runner in scoring position. Walker will be trying to, at the very least, get him to third. He pops it foul and out of play.
Well, dangerous to pitch Walker away. He likes the ball out away from. Of course, Willie's got that good lively fastball. He stays on it well. Ordinarily in a situation like this, pitcher's going to try and work you away so you don't pull it. That's not necessarily the greatest of ideas against this guy. He likes it out there.
Pirates have 3 hits, all infield hits. One of them was a bunt single. Lead runner on. And Walker rips one foul. Found the barrel on that one, but he pulled it. 1 ball, 2 strikes. This is a spot where Peralta could use a strikeout. He only has 2 today. One of those came against the pitcher.
Needs that good slider down and in right here.
Yeah, Willie wants to start over with Lucroy. See what he has in mind. 1 ball, 2 strikes. McCutchen a short lead at second. And a swing and a miss. He struck him out. Peralta gets him.
Man, that's what he gave him. That's a good pitch. So Willie gets the out without the Pirates able to advance the base runner. So now it's going to take a base hit to score him. There's that good slider from Peralta and a good block by Lucroy. Now you ask for it, you get it.
That was
nice pitch.
Nasty slider down in the zone. A lot of bite to it. So the first out is a big one. The 3rd K for Peralta. And here is Russell Martin now. He has been the most clutch of the Pirates. A strike. That one looked like it was so bad it was good. One that just spun up there.
Yeah, good thing he didn't throw that one to Neil Walker.
Go ahead run at second base. Peralta deals it. Martin grounds it foul. Got in on his hands. And it's 0-2. Now does Willie go back to that slider? And Lucroy wants to talk about it with him.
What he wants to make sure of is going to throw it to make sure you get it down in the dirt. Don't hang it. Russell Martin will hammer it somewhere.
Now Martin is well known as a high fastball hitter. So anything in the belt to the letters, just because of the nature of his swing. Jonathan Broxton was talking about that the other day. He knows you can't pitch him up. He let one go up, and Martin hit one out to right center. No balls, 2 strikes. And it gets away. That's a wild pitch. That is a big one right there. A pass ball and a wild pitch has Andrew McCutchen at third base with 1 out. And now the Pirates can score a run with an out.
He just tried to overthrow that slider. Tried to throw it too hard. He held on to it too long. And a tough pitch for Lucroy on the backhand. Tried to get it. Could not do it. And now you have great speed at third base. A fly ball is probably going to score a run.
The Brewers will bring their infield in. Trying to cut that run off. Anything on the ground. 1-2 the count. And Martin lines one up the middle, a base hit. Pirates have the lead.
Yep, he left it up in the strike zone. Didn't want to spike it again. Well, one pitch leads to the other. He spiked the slider before that. Didn't want to do it. Hung it, and Martin able to bang it into center field. The first hit for the Pirates that has touched the outfield grass.
And Russell Martin does it again. Well, this guy has been so clutch for them. Not to mention all the great work he does behind the plate. Martin, a .376 batting average with runners in scoring position. And he plates the first run.
Well, now if you're Willie Peralta, you got to settle down. You got to minimize the damage. Keep him at 1. You get back to your game. This is a great move by Lucroy and Kranis just to try and calm him down. You know Willie is mad at himself, furious. Look at the way he's been able to manage that pitch count. Innings 4, 5, and 6. And still he finds himself behind 1-0.
And you got to lay that on the offense as well.
Well, it's been that way the entire road trip.
I mean, Peralta's pitching with 0 net right here. And it feels like a mistake, and you give up a run. But the Pirates, you talked about how they were scoring. They had a stretch where they were averaging over 5 runs per game when the Brewers arrived here in this series. They won 11 out of 13 games, scoring over 5 a game. One out runner at first. But just think about how the inning starts. So an infield hit, another one. Brewers have been victimized by so many infield hits.
Yeah, how many this entire road trip?
It's borderline fluky is what it is. You had the Holiday infield hit in St. Louis. Had an infield hit that started the 4-run inning in the 8th inning here in the opener on Friday.
That was Marte. Yep.
And you got 3 infield hits today. There's a swing and a miss. Powered him up with a fastball, a big sinker.
Of course, the Brewers have every opportunity to do the same thing. Haven't been able to do it. Got to be very disheartening for this starting rotation the way it's been going. 11 games now. Outstanding work by the starting rotation. The bullpen's been great, except for 1 inning in or here on Friday night. But not much to show for it.
1-2. Marte at the plate. Count evens at 2-2.
99 miles an hour, so he still has plenty left. Pitch count not quite at 80.
Brewers looking for a double play ball. Tough against Marte. He runs well. Willie deals. Marte breaks his bat. About that 50 pitches today for Peralta, 95 or better. Just hit 99 a moment ago. That's one thing about Peralta that most power pitchers aren't able to do, maintain velocity throughout a game
and throughout the entire season.
Another 2-2 coming to Marte, and a ground ball through, a base hit. First and second with 1 out. That'll bring up Ike Davis.
Yeah, last couple of base hits have come on sliders from Willie, so that pitch has let him down. Both to Russell Martin and now to Starling Marte.
He really hasn't thrown a good one since he struck out Neil Walker. As you said, one pitch leads to the next. I feel like that slider that he hung against Martin right after he struck out Walker may have gotten his kitchen a little bit.
Yeah, even though Martin took it, right?
He's been hesitant to just let it go. He spiked one that allowed McCutchen to go to third base. That was a big one. Two on, one out. Davis, power hitting lefty at the plate. Wow. That was an emergency hack. He did foul it off. That got a good chunk of Jonathan Lucroy.
Kind of jammed the thumb. I think that foul ball got right on the end of the glove of Lucroy. Sometimes those hurt. Just another thing to give you some problems as you wind down the season. Watch where the foul ball gets him. Yeah, right on the end of the thumb.
He's trying to check his swing and he ends up fouling it off.
What that does is bends that thumb back.
Well, it's a spot where Peralta could use a K or a ground ball. Davis typically a fly ball hitter with that big uppercut. A run is in for the Pirates. Brewers pitching had shut him out for 15 consecutive innings until this 7th inning. Got him. Peralta strikes him out. Davis watched it go by.
Another slider that just stayed right up in the strike zone. That's just a cement mixer that time and fooled Ike Davis. He saw the spin, was expecting to go down and in, or at least off the plate. Stayed right on the inside corner. Didn't do much, and not sure Davis thought that was a ball or not, but caught the edge.
Called strike 3. The 2 outs in this inning are K's. Peralta has 4. And here is Jordy Mercer now. 23 pitches in the inning for Peralta, by far the most he's had in an inning today. Inning started with an infield hit by McCutchen. Then a pass ball got him to second. A wild pitch got him to third. Russell Martin drove him in with a single. Mercer pops it up, and Lucroy, fair territory, will make the catch. The inning is over. Now this game and this season may come down to the last 6 outs here in Pittsburgh. Brewers down 1-0. Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Without a heart, it's just a machine. By the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. And by Miller Lite, now in the original can, it's Miller time. Well, it's a beautiful Sunday here, but it is getting late quickly. Brewers now trail 1-0. RBI single by Russell Martin, who has driven in 4 runs for the Pirates in this series. 4 of their 5 that they've scored. New right fielders Gregory Polanco, as Claire Hurdle shores up his defense. Very strong throwing arm over there. Gabby Sanchez will take over at first base. Meanwhile, Vance Worley continues to roll. He has allowed just 4 hits, 2 of those infield hits. He's retired 10 in a row. Brewers don't have a base runner since the 4th inning when Braun singled with 2 outs. Bottom of the order coming up. Overbay, Segura have the pitcher spot. And let's see if the Brewers can fight their way back here today. Normally you don't sweat a 1-run deficit, but the way the Brewers are swinging the bats lately, it looks like a mountain.
And with 1 more out, Vance Worley set a season high for innings pitched. Working here in the 8th inning. He's been unbelievable today. Been able to match Willie Peralta pitch for pitch. Only 75 pitches. Amazing.
Brewers were shut out by Adam Wainwright in St. Louis. That was a complete game for Wainwright. Somewhat to be expected, not a surprise. Vance Worley is a surprise that he has shut this offense out at this point. And he has hit that spot with a slider all day today. That has been a money pitch for him. He's got Overbay down, a ball and 2 strikes. And down he goes. Overbay has some parting shots for the home plate umpire on his way out, but Worley has not missed. That's 11 in a row retired. He has 4 strikeouts. Well, the Powerball home run leaderboard for the Brewers stands at 146. They've fallen all the way to 5th in the National League in that category. They'd love to add to that total. They're running out of outs.
They've only hit 2 home runs on this road trip so far. Ricky Weeks had 1 first game of this series, and Gerardo Parra had 1 in St. Louis.
With power on the mind, Renick's going to lift Segura here for Matt Clark, hoping he can run into one. Back in there he goes. That same breaking ball just has eaten up the left-handed batters for the Brewers. It's quickly 0-2 on Clark. The Brewers are 3.5 back in the wild card race. It's a must-win game for them realistically. And Worley strikes him out with a fastball. Back-to-back backwards Ks for Vance Worley. 2 up, 2 down here in the 8th inning.
Yeah, 5 strikeouts, no walks for Worley today. He's only allowed the 4 singles. Man, amazing. You know, from a distance, it doesn't look like he has much on the baseball, but I'll tell you, in the batter's box, the way the Brewers have been approaching their at-bats, it looks like he's got something going on there. Not sure what it is. Deceptive delivery, good late movement.
Chris Davis will pinch hit. Davis leads the club in homers. He's tied with Reynolds with 22. Brewers need a big bolt from someone. Davis coming off the bench. And he hits one out to short. Jordy Mercer lines it up. 1, 2, 3 innings. Vance Worley has 8 shutout innings. RBI single in the 7th inning to put him on top. Our shining moment brought to you by Marshfield Clinic. Willie Peralta was outstanding today, but with very little offense at all. I'm not even talking about runs, but just hits. Willie Peralta on the wrong side of the ledger right now, despite 7 strong. Giving up just 1 run. Only 5 hits allowed, 3 of those coming in the 7th inning. He walked 3 and struck out 4. He did all of that in just 87 pitches. And because the Brewers are down, they had to pinch hit for him. And he is out after 7.
Still another outstanding job by this Brewers starting rotation. Now 11 starts, very good. Unfortunately, the Brewer bats have gone silent as Marco Estrada continues here. He pitched in last night's ball game, pitched a scoreless inning. Marco in his 37th game, 18 of those were starts, and a .450 earned run average. He's been particularly good coming out of the bullpen this year.
Hector Gomez will take over at short. Segura was pinch hit for last inning.
And Marco with a .323 earned run average as a relief pitcher. That's 18 appearances out of the bullpen.
And a consecutive scoreless inning streak near 12 innings. Inning and a third last night. Andrew Lambeau pinch hitting for the Pirates. Pinch hitting for Worley. 8 shutout innings for Worley. 4 hits allowed. He threw just 82 pitches. 63 of those for strikes.
And the Pirates are going to bring on their closer, Mark Melancon. Brewers able to scratch out a run against him last night.
Brewers won 1-0 last night. Pirates up 1-0, and the Brewers down to their last 3 outs. They will have the top of the order coming up in the 9th. Gomez, Jeanette, and Lucroy.
So it looks like the Pirates have a left-hander getting loose. Might not be Melancon.
Tony Watson is out there. There's a fly ball to left. Parra's got a long way to go. It's slicing, and Parra runs it down. What a play. Tough Sunfield out in left, and Gerardo Parra makes the catch. Back to our Carsoup.com trivia question. 3 pitchers in Brewers history to save at least 40 games in a season. The answer, you know, Frankie Rodriguez is on the list. Frankie Cordero is on the list as well. John Axford is the franchise record holder with 46. He did that in 2011. He currently pitches for the Pirates. Brewers would love to give Rodriguez a chance to save one today. A strike to Harrison. If the Brewers don't come back today, the St. Louis Cardinals will clinch a postseason berth. And I'm sure they'll appreciate that, but they've got their sights set on a division title. Cardinals play tonight against Cincinnati. A loss today by the Brewers would put them 4.5 back and 5 in the loss column with 6 to play. Not mathematically eliminated, but
pretty close
realistically. But a Brewers win today changes things.
Gets the Pirates sweating a little bit.
Yeah, puts heat on Pittsburgh as they go on the road. They finish their season on the road, 7 games away from PNC. Starting tomorrow night in Atlanta, 4-game series for the Pirates against the Braves. Speaking of teams that cannot score, Atlanta's in a drought offensively, much like the Brewers.
Yeah, they're losing today.
Now the Mets lead the Braves 6-2 today. Another great start by Jacob deGrom. 10 more strikeouts today in 6 innings. Full count to Harrison. Ground ball. Hector Gomez fires one across for the second out. 2 up, 2 down for Estrada. Gregory Polanco will bat for the first time. Came in defensively for Snyder last inning. Shattered bat in 3 pieces. A changeup from Estrada. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Had a very weak swing in last night's game against K-Rod in the 9th. K-Rod threw him a first pitch changeup and grounded weakly back to the mound. So young aggressive hitter having a difficult time with that off-speed pitch.
Estrada 1-1. Ball and 2 strikes on Polanco. Willie Peralta went 7 innings, 1 run. Estrada trying to work a scoreless 8th. Last call for the Brewers coming up in the 9th with the top of the order. Pittsburgh had just 2 hits going into the 7th inning. And an inning that started with an Andrew McCutchen infield hit. Of the 5 hits today for the Pirates, 3 have been of the infield variety. A swing and a miss, a fastball by him. The inning is over, and the season is coming down to it. Gomez, Jeanette, and Lucroy. We go to the 9th. Brewers down a run. They trail 1-0. And our Miller Lite What's on Tap. The Brewers will take tomorrow off in Cincinnati. They'll start a 3-game series with the Reds. They hope it means something. And it'll be Cueto, Corsino, and Holmberg for the Reds in that series. A series up against Tuesday, Mike Fiers, Kyle Loesch, Giovanni Gallardo. And we're on the air at 5:30 for the first 2 games. It's a day game Thursday. Airtime is 11 a.m. on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Well, the season might come down to this 1 inning right here. And instead of Melanson, it is going to be Tony Watson. Hard-throwing left-hander is on to try to close it down for the Buccos.
Yeah, he's made 14 consecutive scoreless appearances. That covers 14 and a third innings. Threw up a scoreless inning in last night's ball game. Melanson has thrown 3 consecutive days, so that's why you have Tony Watson in there to close this one out. Brewers have the top of their order up.
Watson does not have a save this season, but he doesn't give up many hits, and he strikes out a ton. He has a big fastball.
But being the 8th inning guy is a lot different than being the 9th inning guy. Let's see how he handles this closed situation.
Gomez shows bunt, drops it down, foul. 1 ball, 1 strike on Gomez. Carlos tonight is 0 for 3. He's trying to break from a long slump at the plate. He's hitless in his last 16 at-bats. He's dealing with a wrist problem. He tweaked his ankle striding to the plate earlier in this game. That was back in the 6th inning. Actually had to receive some medical attention from the athletic trainer. He went through with the at-bat. Hoping for a mistake here. 1 ball, 1 strike. And he shows bunt again, pushes this one foul. I think that tells you all you need to know about where Gomez is right now physically.
Yeah, right. They've been talking about that this entire series. The fact that he's really showing signs that wrist isn't feeling all that great.
He missed a week with it, didn't go on the DL. The Brewers didn't have to put him on the disabled list, being in expanded rosters in September. Now it's 1-2. Carlos has big power, but he has not homered in over a month. He's sitting on 21 home runs, but it's been since August 20th since he's hit 1 out. Wind is blowing out to left center. And Gomez right off the end of the bat, a base hit into right center. And Carlos with a big turn around first forces Polanco to make a throw. Good piece of hitting there with 2 strikes. Gomez is aboard.
Yep, waiting back and able to dump that one into the gap in right center, just out of the reach of Neil Walker out at second base. Really nice approach by Gomez. Is trying to put the ball in play and ends up with a base hit. And once again, you know, Tony Watson, a terrific setup guy. He's got 10 wins, but you know, coming out there as a closer is a lot different than being that 8th inning guy. There's no safety net when you're closing out a game. And we'll see how he does.
So here is Ricky Weeks, who homered on Friday, has a home run against Watson in his career. And a strike. Little half swing, called a strike anyway.
Tough guy to run on too. Got that slide step. He gets rid of it quickly.
Gomez with 33 stolen bases this season. And Weeks fouls it away. And although that pitch came to the plate, Gomez was breaking back to first. So he does not have a good read on Watson.
He's got that quick delivery, and you never know when he's going to come over to first base. So last thing that Gomez wants is to get picked off.
A lot of times against lefties, Gomez will just take off on the first move. Got a right-handed throwing first baseman now. They took Davis out for Sanchez. And Weeks, a chopper over the head of Watson. He over the shoulders hit the throw to first and safe. And now Gomez is hung up between second and third. And Gomez is out. Unbelievable.
Can't do that. Boy.
Brewers just had the gift of all gifts, and they let it get away as Gomez gets caught in a rundown for the first out of the inning.
Well, looked like the Brewers are going to get a break. Watson not able to get an accurate throw off. Sanchez knocks it down and then catches Gomez in a rundown. Boy, oh boy. Harrison able to tag him out. One out and a man at first base now instead of first and second, and nobody out. Just trying to make something out of nothing, and just can't do that. Not able to stay in a rundown long enough to allow Weeks to get to second base.
So Gomez is put out, first out of the inning. Renicky is going to use a pinch runner here for Ricky Weeks. Elian Herrera will come on the run at first.
Not sure how they scored it, but could be a hit, could be an error. We don't know.
I think it's, yeah, we'll see. Should be a hit for Weeks. That was a tough play. Certainly out of the realm of normalcy for a pitcher, especially. That will be an infield hit. Put out goes 1, 3, 4, 5. All right, here's Lucroy. The go-ahead run at the plate, tying run at first, and Lucroy fouls it away. He was late. Herrera has great speed at first base. If Lucroy can get one down the line or through a gap, which is going to be tough here because the outfielders are deep, Herrera would have a chance to score the tying run. And saw it off again, and it's 0-2 on Lucroy. Boy, what a huge base running mistake by Gomez. You can't fault him for the effort, but the wrong time to try to push it right there.
Well, maybe it was one out. You might want to chance a little bit and get to third base for less than 2, but you don't want to make the first out of the inning like that.
Watson from the stretch checks on Herrera. Lucroy is a good hitter with 2 strikes. Always thinking up the middle or right field. Got the wind blowing out to left. There is a short porch down the left field line. It's only 325 down there. In an otherwise pitcher friendly ballpark.
Tough to pull this guy though.
Yeah, coming in at 97 miles an hour. One of the great at-bats of Lucroy's career came last year against Aroldis Chapman, who was throwing 100. Kept fouling off fastball after fastball. Chapman then threw him a slider, and Lucroy hit one out to left. And a fastball just missed.
Boy.
Zipped it in at 97, and it didn't miss by much.
Tough pitch to take right there. Luke got the call. Rob Drake didn't like it behind home plate. You can see Russell Martin thought it was a strike. Ooh, man, he held it there for a good long time, didn't he?
Fox.
That means he thought it was a strike.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Tying run at first. Here he comes, and Lucroy down the left field line, foul. Try to slider. So he's ahead of the breaking ball. He's behind the fastball. That's a scary place to be for a hitter.
He's still hanging in there though. Takes one mistake.
Melanson sits today in a save situation. Watson gets the call.
Yeah, Watson still has not retired a batter.
Gomez with a single to right center. Weeks with an infield hit. Gomez was thrown out on that play. Off the bag at second, too far. Another 2-strike pitch coming to Lucroy. In the air, little flare, left center. Back is Mercer, going back and making the catch for the out. Shortstop had a long way to go. That's not an easy play, especially with the sun where it is right now. But Mercer makes the play, no problem, and the Brewers are down to their last out. In St. Louis, they know they are an out away from securing a postseason berth. And the Pirates could all but finish the Brewers season here right now. And it's a former Pirate, Aramis Ramirez, at the plate. Ramirez loves that first pitch. You know he'll be swinging if he puts it in the strike zone. That's the tying run at first, and Herrera. Now Watson keeping him close. Baseball's version of icing the kicker here. A couple of throws to first. If Ramirez can reach, Ryan Braun would be next.
You know, Ramirez looking for something middle in. He's going to be out ahead of that fastball. He's going to be hunting it. And if he gets one he likes, you know he's going to be trying to knock it out of here. Wind's blowing out the left.
Took his sunglasses off. Want to know the count. Tony Watson deals. Ramirez fouls it away, and that one got in on his hands.
He was looking in there. He got it, and it took a big hack.
Hit him, or behind him, and that did hit him. That grazed him on the way by. And Ramirez is aboard.
Wow.
No ejections here, Rock. And Ramirez will. That's an inside joke.
I get you.
From yesterday. I apologize.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
So now first and second. A hit by pitch. The first real mistake by Watson in this ninth inning.
They got him on the back of the leg.
Tell you what, that is a break. And another pinch runner is coming out. So Ramirez reaches, hit him with a 2-strike pitch. Logan Schaefer will run. Brewers have all kind of speed on the bases right now, and Herrera and Schaefer. Schaefer carries the go-ahead run. And here is Ryan Braun, and it's fitting that this season could come down to a Ryan Braun at bat.
And he's had some good success late in games here at PNC Park.
And Braun hammers one into left center field. McCutchen is on the run. He's got it. And the ball game is over. The Pirates win. Braun hit it hard, but McCutchen runs it down. The Cardinals clinch a postseason spot. The Pirates all but wipe out the Brewers. It's going to take a miracle comeback now as Pittsburgh wins 2 out of 3 and a 1-0 victory here today in the final game of this series. Well, Base running mistakes, lack of offense. Vance Worley goes 8 shutout innings in a spot start. And the Brewers season might have just ended right here in Pittsburgh.
It's just such a shame to be wasting this good starting pitching. Bullpen work has been very good. Didn't have to score too many runs to have a good road trip. They just haven't been able to score hardly any. That's unfortunate.
5 months in first place. Now the Brewers are 4.5 back. 5 in the loss column with 6 to go in the second wild card spot. Jeff Grayson standing by in our Fox Sports Wisconsin studios. Let's send it to Jeff. Take it away, partner.